Braves, in case you haven't heard, have brought back an old familiar face. Craig Kimbrel has been signed to a minor league deal, and he will start down at AAA, and if it works out, he'll be a setup man for about $2 million. And, you know, this is where the Braves are right now. Hector Neris, guys like that, and guys like Craig Kimbrel, reclamation projects in the back end of this bullpen. That's what you're facing right now, even though you are spending, as of right now, about $10 to $12 million less than what your salary was last year when you talk about the team salary and where it is.
Craig Kimbrel, at the height of his powers, 2017, even into 2018.
Greatest teammate I've ever been around.
He was 10-1 as a closer, basically, which doesn't really happen. He led the league in the National League 4 years in a row in saves, 46, 42, 50, 47. And remember, here's the crazy part. He played in 2010. He had one save. He jumped from 1 to 46. Follows it up with 42, 50, 47. The 50 leads all of baseball. The other ones lead the National League. But after that, it's 39, 31, 35, 42 in 2018. So it's a Hall of Fame career. Now the question is, can you do the Andrew Jones things where people think less of you because you're around longer and it's not really going that well, and then a lack of postseason success on top of that?
Well, he pitched for the Orioles last year and wasn't on the postseason roster because the second half of the year was so bad. In his first 46 appearances in an Orioles uniform, pretty good. 3.21 ERA, held opponents to a 176 batting average. And then his last 11 appearances, starting on August the 6th, 13.94 ERA.
Good God.
That was why he was left off of the postseason roster, and that was why the Orioles did not pick up his club option.
This guy's got a 14 1/3 innings. Strikeouts per 9 innings for his career. Even last year, he's above 12. He's 12.6. The year before that, he's 12.3. These numbers are sick. These numbers are incredible. At his height of power, 16.4 strikeouts per 9 innings. Go roll that around your head, because you're in a situation where you're also having to slow your heart rate down. Like, if you goof it up, you can goof it up really big. He was not a 7th-inning guy. He was not an 8th-inning guy. This guy was the guy that came in the 9th. And unfortunately, watch this. You want an odd damn moment? I talk about damn in this town. What's the thing he's most famous for here in Atlanta?
Standing in the bullpen when the Dodgers beat him in the playoffs.
That's it. It's the most famous Craig Kimbrel moment. Roll that around your head in a Hall of Fame type career.
Set the franchise record, 186 saves that he totaled in a Braves uniform from 10 through 14. Here's the bullpen, how it's set up right now. Iglesias, Pierce Johnson, Dylan Lee, Aaron Bummer, they're in. Daysbel Hernandez, I guess you can consider him in. Then you have guys like Iniel De Los Santos and Hector Neris along with Craig Kimbrel. So you're doing a lot of experimenting now when it comes to this bullpen. And you're playing 7 games in 7 days to open up the season. So that's why Ian Anderson, A.J. Smith-Shawver, those guys, most likely both of them, will be a part of this roster.
He makes an appearance in 2010, but his rookie year is 2011. You know what he does? Here's how you win the Rookie of the Year. 64 games finished. You got 46 saves, 77 innings, 127 strikeouts, 15 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's his first full year in the major leagues. And you go, well, where's the sophomore slump? Yeah, it wasn't there. He was basically just as good the next year.
As dominating as anybody ever was, and Chris Sale was as dominating as anybody ever was, winning the Triple Crown last year, but broke down at the end of the year, and that's why Steve Phillips, who joined us yesterday from the MLB Network, had this to say, big picture about the Braves staff.
I think that, one of the real challenges is that guys like Sale and Strider in May and early June, they're going to feel great in the 6th inning to be able to go out there in the 7th inning. And they're going to tell you the truth. They feel great, but that's not the issue. The issue is that the accumulation of those innings in May and June and early July, they start to add up to where they take a toll, and at some point you tip to the other side of the scale when it comes to August and September. And what you want to do is to hold back. If it's 5-2 after 6 innings, you know what? Trust your bullpen. They're going to go out there and win a game and hold it for you and save that inning for later.
It's why you need offense. That scenario you just laid out, yeah, I'll roll with that scenario. But it means you better be a better offensive team than you were last year. Because how many times were you able to look at Chris Sale and go, hey, man, 5-2.
Well, there was that one game they lost 1-0 in Chicago.
Yeah, but that's not 5-2. That's not 5-2.
But that's no offense whatsoever, and he still stayed in that game.
Should have.
And there are times where Steve Phillips is saying you need to pull him. There was the game where he struggled down in Miami. And if you know you're not going to win that game, even though the bullpen was being used and it's early in the season, is there going to be a scenario where if that happens this year, you're going to pull Chris Sale? I know he's going to want to go 7 because he's the ultimate teammate, but you got to say, I need to protect you from yourself.
If you tell me there are going to be 10 games that he starts where the Braves are up 5-2 going into the 7th, and I have the feeling that I could sit him, that's great. How many times does that happen?
Few and far between.
Right.
And you look at this bullpen right now, who will you trust in this bullpen? Because there's a lot of question marks in this bullpen right now. And I know every team can question their bullpen for the most part. I get that.
Who's the converted long guy this year? Long guy. Who's the guy that has to dump into the 4th, 5th, and maybe pitch the 6th, and maybe do it 2 times a week?
I mean, you would think
Don't
that...
tell me Ian Anderson because he walks too many people. He is the guy that you'd like to do it, but he walks too many people.
You would think it would be either him or A.J. Smith-Shawver, but at times it's...
I got to keep him stretched. I got to keep him stretched.
Well, not only that, it's the same concern with him. He's all over the place at times.
I know, but I got to keep him stretched.
You need a guy like Josh Tomlin, who used to be...
Right.
Who is just going to... Sometimes you're going to have to wear it.
Yeah.
You're going to throw strikes.
He's the
and
dog.
You're just going to have to be sacrificed.
He's the dog that sometimes gets kicked, but it's a role and it keeps you in the major leagues. I'm not dumb about this. I'm telling you, there is money to be made by being a guy whose arm is flexible enough. Now, again, you might be short-term, but I need you a couple of times a week. Like, you got to be able to get up 3 innings at a time. You got to be a 4-inning guy and a 3-inning guy in a week. I don't know who's that. Who's that? I developed that guy. I would take a starter who I know is never going to start for me. I keep banging on this one. Take a starter who's never going to start for you up here. And you know what I'm going to tell you? We're basically going to have you do side sessions in games.
Bryce Elder, is another name, but he's another one. He starts walking people. And next thing you know, it's a 5-run, it's a crooked inning.